Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to Stampin' with Margaret from the She Shed. Today we're talking all things mini albums. I've promised for a good while that we will do one of the 3-page albums, which I just love doing, and I love all things scrapbooking and memory keeping and photograph keeping, because I'm on a mission to get everybody to print their photographs. So one of these albums, I'll show you this one first, this is what we will be doing today, can take up to 12 photographs. So it's ideal to cover something like a special birthday or a weekend away, which this one will be, it's travel themed with the Stampin' Up papers. And it's very simple to make with 3 pages of A4 cardstock. So it just opens with a flap here and it opens out with a wee envelope to put in a little booklet, or in this case I just used some of the paper with the different cutouts and scored it rather than cutting it up, and be able to put photographs back and front on that. So like that in itself, if you put photographs on each one, it would take 6. So it's up to yourself how many pictures you want to put in, but you know, you don't have to have a whole load of photographs either. You can just use it for one special occasion. And the second page opens out like this. I have made it here without a pocket, but you can have a second pocket in there, and then 2 more full pages, and close again with either Velcro dots or some magnets. This is one that I did, and I've used my Cricut for that, which is very handy. But if you have stickers, letters, you know, the foam letters or stencils or die cut letters and numbers, you'll be able to just die cut them out and put them on the front, or just in this case it just says Tenerife, because that's what this book is going to be full of. So here it's just the magnet closure, and this has the pocket here. This is the other page that folds out, but I've added this waterfall to add more pictures because there was a lot going on. And you can do that. I'll show you that at a later stage, but just to keep it straightforward, you can just do the 1 photograph per page and keep it simple. Now this is another one that I did with a magnetic closure as well, using more cutouts from the paper pack and adding the photographs to that, and making a kind of a little booklet out of it. Sometimes the papers are just too nice to cover. And I have then these little tags here for scrapbooking, for journaling and saying about what's happening. This was a trip to Copenhagen we did just before COVID hit, and some lovely photographs. But again, this is just straightforward. The first fold out, the second fold out, and the back 2 pages, and that's it, straightforward, nothing added, no waterfalls or anything. And then this is another one I just completed today, but if anybody was interested in doing a class, get in touch with me, and I'm going to do this one again. I might even try to do it online on a Zoom if that's something that people were interested in. But it's just a square box, but when you open it out, it's like an exploding box, but it's actually a photo album rather than the exploding box. And you can just put all your photographs in here. Sometimes the papers are just so nice, it's just something nice to do with the papers and use it as an ornament. But I'll put in little 3x3 photographs. Another trip myself and my friend did recently for her birthday. And you know, you don't have to have it full, but you can just put in the little memories. And these are more the cut aparts that were in the book, and they're just too nice to cut up, so I just used them and folded them in, and then you put a wee lid on the top and it's all finished. But I love making mini albums. There's all sorts of sizes, 6x6, 8x8, and I am doing a year of folios with May Helms, and she's actually the lady who designed this first 3-page folio that we're going doing. And I'm just obsessed. I have a problem, I know I have. So you can make the gusset either an inch or half an inch or 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't matter what size, but if you want to, like in this book, add more into it, you can actually just make it thicker and you're able to add in the extra photographs. There's more space, but we're just keeping it simple today and doing a straightforward with a 3/4 inch gusset on it. So it's the first thing you do is you're going to score your 2 main pages at 2.5. I'm using a 200 or 300 GSM because I love the heavy card weight for that. But this green one here, I use Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and when you have the few layers of paper on it, it's still just as good as the 300. So, it's just, if they're going to get a lot of looking through, the heavy cardstock will last longer. So you scored at 2.5, you're scoring at 9, and then you're scoring at 9 3/4. And this is my second time doing this today because when I went to put the pages together, I had a complete blank, which can often happen. But this one is going to be a christening one, and I'm going to have space for a few extras on it. And I want to just leave a little bit of extra space on it. So again, 2.5 and 9 and 9 3/4. And the third page, then all you have to do with it is cut it in half. Or sorry, score it in half, not cut. And that is at 5 5/8, gives you the half. But if you can't find the 5/8, just use 6. And the 5/8 is just 2 marks before the 6 on your scoring, on your cutter and scoreboard. So then you go to bend, score these, and then use your bone folder on them to give you a good sharp crease. When you're creasing them, just line them up top and bottom to make sure that you have the creases, the pages are straight, and then you'll have a straight book. But if they're slightly off, in the end, it really doesn't matter. And what we're doing today is just we'll make the basic construction, and I'll explain to you about the decoration and measuring, and then we can come back another day and I will show you the green one finished. It's one I started on a challenge online where it was a spin the wheel, and we had to make a travel themed something. It could have been a scrapbook page, or it could have been a card. And straight away I said, okay, I have the travel paper from the Stampin' Up. It's in the new catalogue. If you wanted a catalogue, just get in touch with me and I will be able to send it out to you in the post. Now, here we go again. Second time videoing this because I forgot earlier on. Yes, I have it right. No, I have it wrong. What you need to do, yes, is you have your 2 pages with your spine on the right hand side, and the ones with no spine, the 2 flaps on the left hand side. And what you're going to do is you're going to join them up on this smaller, it's just a 2-inch flap. This one on the left is 2.5, the one on the right is 2 inch. So what you're going to do is you're going to attach the back of this one, which is the main piece, onto the 2-inch piece, and then glue it down. But before I put any glue on, I just want to explain to you that when you have it, when you're gluing it down, you're gluing up to the edge of the fold, but you're not gluing over the fold, because you want the page to be able to bend so that it will fold into the book. So what you do is you put the glue on and you bring it to the edge of the fold. That's the fold in this card onto the flap, the 2-inch flap. So what I'm going to do here is, you might see it better on the camera, I am just going to put my glue on this flap, and then I will bring the other card to the side. Now, if this is your first folio, or first time ever doing a folio, I'm going to keep it simple with the closure too. I'm just going to use the Velcro on it. So again, you have the fold on this card, bring it up to the edge, but not across the fold on the left hand side. So if you lift it up and just run your finger down the edge, you'll know that it's not going to, you're going to be able to bend your card. So what you can do then is just rub it down with a cloth like this, and it just, hopefully if there's any spillage or anything coming out the edge, you'll catch it and you won't end up with sticky extras coming out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add this page that we folded in half. And what you do with this is you fit it in here, and you're going to fold that flap down, and you're going to stick the flap down to this side. Now, as I did say earlier, you could make that a pocket, but if you make that a pocket as well, you can have a weaker folder or a weaker album. Whereas if you actually glue it down and you glue the solid piece to this piece that's bent in half, it just gives a sturdier base to your folio, and it means then that it's more solid and less likely that it will come apart or tear. So again, you're bringing the cards that's folded in half, you're bringing it here to the fold but not across it, and you're going to rub this down here onto the flap on the right hand side piece. So now you have your page folding in, and it's folding in where you have a gusset, which gives it room to expand, and then this one closes up. Forgot one thing, we're going to make a pocket out of this. So if you're using tape, just run your paper tape, your score tape along the sides here, but I just prefer the glue, and I just run a small little bead of glue along the edge of each one of the two sides, and then fold it over, and again rub it down with your cloth so that you have a pocket here for putting more little albums and items into. So you have this flap in the middle that folds into this gusset, you have this flap that folds over, and then this last one is where it comes around the front, and we will use the Velcro dots to keep it closed. So that's the bare bones of it. This is one where I started and I used my paper to cover the front of it. Now, when you have papers, you know, if you have one of the suites of scrap of papers from Stampin' Up or any other book of pattern papers, the best thing to do is pick out the paper that you'd like best for the front and put it to one side, because you don't want to use it and end up cutting it by mistake and then having nothing to, you know, being disappointed that you don't actually have the front piece for your card. On this one here, now this is the next step. What I would do before I'd even covered the front, what I do is I will take my ruler and I measure the page. So in this case, the page is 6.5 inches by 8.25 inches. So to have your little edge around, and you see here I use the green paper instead of using the white. so that you can have a colour that coordinates with your pattern paper. I used a coordinating heather colour here, but this one was just left white, and I cut the paper. I think it was actually an 8x8 pack, so which was perfect because I had my 1/8 of an inch top and bottom by having it 1/4 inch shorter because it's 8 1/4 long. So what I would do would be, everything is going to be 8 1/4 inches long, and this piece of paper that I'm using, designer series paper, I would cut it at 6 1/4 by 8 inches, and that will give me the border around the whole lot. So the next thing then is I take my pencil and I write it on everything. So this one now is 2 1/2. So I'm going to take 1/4 off that. So that's 2 1/4 by 8 inches is the piece I need for here. And you can write it on in pencil, and you can rub it off, but it's going to be covered anyway. So this piece here then is 4 inches wide. So this would be 3 3/4 by, again, it's 8 inches. This piece here is 1/2 an inch. So this would be 3/8 of an inch by 8. And now this one is 5 7/8. So we take 2 eighths off that, which makes it 5 5/8 by 8. And this is the same, 5 5/8 by 8. So this will be the same on this side, but I'll just double check. 5 5/8 by 8. Now with the fold and the fold here, it's slightly smaller. So I'm making this one 5 1/2 by 8. So it is good to measure each page. So this one here is 6 3/8. So this will be 6 1/8 by 8. This will be 3/8 by 8. And this one is 2 1/8. So it will be 1 7/8 by 8. And that's 2 1/8, so it's 1 7/8 again. And then you have your 3/8 here. And then you can cover the back or you can leave it as is. So the next thing for you to do would be to go ahead and cut out your papers and cover each of the pieces. And I will come back and do another video with mine all covered, and I'll show you where to place your Velcro dots and where you can put in the photographs. And we'll just keep this one straightforward, no waterfalls, no anything, but you'll just have a small little album that will be covering one occasion. And I hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions, send me a message and I will try and help you with it if it's something you're stuck with. The Stampin' Up! Catalogue, the new Spring Summer, is out, and some of these are in it, and it's lovely travel theme here. But if you need a catalogue, let me know and I'll send it out to you in the post. And happy making, and I look forward to seeing what you do with your papers and what you come up with. Talk to you soon. Bye.